Mike's Daily Podcast.
We're back in Podcastro Valleymont today. It's episode 1951, 1951.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
We're in the 50s now with our bobby socks and our poodle skirts and our sweaters and our jackets, and it's 1950s. Ooh, Shubop, Eisenhower's president. We're fighting the Korean War, and we're drinking malts. And Fonzie's going And did you know that catchphrase,
Mike's Daily Podcast,
was deliberately going up against a competing television network's other catchphrase, which now I forget.
Mike's
Was it "What you talking about?
Daily
What you talking about, foo?"
Podcast.
That's the only catchphrase I remember
Yeah!
from my childhood. And now I can't. I wish someone would say it to me.
What you talking about, fool?
Oh, thank you. My name is Mike Matthews. I host this podcast. I've been doing it now for like over 10 years or so. And episode that I've been podcasting for over 10 years, it's episode 1951, 1951. I talk about the 1950s there. It's important to remember that we're on the end of a decade now. That doesn't happen every day. It tends to happen every, I can't multiply it, 365 times 10. Would it be 365 gazillion days? After 10 years, a decade ends, as you probably did. Did you not know that? It's true. That's why they call them decades. And then we move on to another one. So we'll be in the 2020s. And we're going to say 2020. And as someone said on a show I produced yesterday, it's going to be just the greatest year for optometrists. 2020. So let's look back on 2010s, shall we? No. And this is the thing that I've noticed, because 10 years ago, I remember this distinctly. We're ending the O's, right? We're ending the aughts, or whatever you call them. I guess it's a decade ago, whatever we call it. The 2000s.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Which now Netflix has a thing about the 2000s. It's a documentary that was done back in 2015. And it was done by CNN. And it's very informative. I watched one recently, and it was talking all about how all these big famous TV shows had to come up with really good finales, because they realized the show was only as good as the finale. You had to stick the landing, as it were, and make it memorable. And all these shows tried something new, and of course The Sopranos had their very interesting ending where Basil's like, don't ruin the ending for me. I don't know how it ends. Shut up, Mike. All right, Basil. Don't Stop Believing. Journey. That thing. Yeah, good song. Steve Perry knew about it, I guess, a couple weeks before, and he was all excited because he was a huge fan of Sopranos. But the guy, David Chase, who did The Sopranos, also did Northern Exposure. And when that show ended in the mid-90s, that show had an interesting ending in that, well, it was sort of it was interesting to me as a fan, but it was actually quite boring compared to the Sopranos ending. Sopranos ending, you know something's happening. Something's going to happen that's big. And then the silence, the black screen, and then your imagination is left to run wild. And on this documentary show, they talked about talking about the 2000s, talked about how all these people across the nation were just, what? No. Television critics loved it. They thought, oh, how artistic, how cool. But the people in general were like, no, we want to know what happens. Why? Don't leave us hanging. Which I guess fits in The Sopranos, because people died on that show in all kinds of ways. Yeah, I really didn't watch the show. I watched a couple episodes, and I saw people die on that show. Kids, don't watch The Sopranos. Wait till you're older. Watch fun Nickelodeon stuff with the cartoons, and the Teen Titans is pretty funny. I've seen some of those. But back to Northern Exposure, which you could probably watch some of the episodes with your kids. But Northern Exposure was, in the end, a little recap of all the characters. You're seeing them in the town of Sicily. As Iris Dement sang. Iris Dement, this folk singer, songwriter. She was in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? She walks into one of the record stores and says, "Hey, do you have that new Soggy Bottom Boys album? Is it Soggy Bottom? Soggy Bottom something." They sing that, "I am a man of constant sorrow." The bluegrass thing. The George Clooney thing. So back to a real quick look back at yesterday very quickly, and that is my teeth got cleaned. But usually when I go to this place, it's a younger person, someone like right out of dentist cleaning school. But yesterday I had someone who was older than me clean my teeth. And I think she was thorough. I don't know, because she talked to me the whole time. In fact, at the end of it, I was thinking, did she do anything at all? Because she talked to me, and it wasn't just superfluous stuff like this podcast. It was important stuff I needed to know about my teeth, the proper way to floss. I apparently was going down too far on with the floss, going down into the gums and hurting my gums. And she was giving me tips, and she was showing me with a mirror. But she talked to me so long that I could tell that other people were telling her, "Hey, you gotta hurry up. You're over your lunch now." And the head dentist lady comes over and she's like, "I gotta talk to the patient. Aren't you done cleaning?" "No, I'm not done." "Oh, okay, I gotta talk to him though." So that was very interesting. And I was, you know what? At the end of it all, I was very thankful to hear all this information. There was all kinds of stuff I didn't know. For example, gum line. The Gum Line. It's not just a fantastic TV movie with drums. People drumming. That's Drumline. Gum Line. Or was it a musical? I forget. The Gum Line, as we go outside the cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. Podcastro Valley, Mont. By the way, the podcast picture is of a place in San Leandro called Fairmont Ridge, and I have not been there for a long, long time because my dog Basil the Boxer, who you heard bark earlier, he can't walk up to Fairmont Ridge anymore. It's too steep to climb. And part of me doesn't really care because I went there so much that I was pretty burnt out on it at the end of it all. And I was like, "Okay, Basil, I'm cool. If you can't make it up there, I don't care." And the people, I would run into the same people every day. And they think that the first climb is tough and you're wheezing and then it sort of levels off. And that's cool. But people would do that every day. And, you know, because they're getting some exercise. And you end up talking about the same stuff every day. It's like these people that show up to the same donut store or the same coffee shop every day. I could not do that. Oh, wait, I do that. I'm at cafe anyway, and I'm outside, and I'm talking to people about... Wait, did I get to the end of my story about the lady who was cleaning my teeth? Oh, yeah, the gum line is where the tooth meets the gum. But what's very problematic about that is that there is actually a little crevice between your tooth and your gum, and that's where all the stuff goes, all the bacteria, all the food and whatnot. But she made it very clear to me, this tooth cleaner, I think her name was Judy, that this is... It's so funny because she's from Castro Valley originally, and she sounds exactly like another Judy I know from Castro Valley. When she's like, I couldn't see her because she's got my mouth wide open and she's really digging in there and going, "Wah!" And I'm hearing her talk and I'm not actually looking at her, and I go, "Oh my God, that's my other friend Judy." But yeah, she's from Podcastro Valley. So what she was telling very emphatic was that when you're brushing your teeth, you're not brushing, the goal isn't to brush the food away. You're really, what you have to think of is that you're brushing away that film that is around your teeth. That is it's some kind of this stuff I can't think of the proper medical biometrical term. But it actually, when it meets with sugar, it turns into acid, and that turns into plaque, and that is what harms your teeth. Is what I got from my long 1.5 hour teeth cleaning yesterday. Okay, look who's out here.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. As you know, I'm very concerned with dental hygiene. That's why I wear my retainer all the time. Mike Matthews.
Ah, and you have been wearing it for a long, long time. When do you get to finally take that out?
When my teeth are absolutely perfect.
Oh, that's cool. I need a little, like, ding noise for your nice, clean teeth. Okay, that'll work. Look who else is here. Hello, Mike. This is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, I heard someone got reprimanded recently here at Cafe anyway. Yes, I can't say who got reprimanded. Floyd? What? No, it was someone else. And they apparently decided to, well, show up to work and go to sleep. Sleep. And then when they were awoken, they were very indignant. How dare you wake me up? How dare you give me things to do? How dare you? Indignant. Entitled. And not owning up to their own, actions. You gotta be responsible, is what I'm saying. So they got chewed out pretty good. And I think that's when you need to be chewed out, is when you're not realizing that your actions have repercussions on other people. You got to own up, as it were, and realize that it's not somebody else's. You did it, I think, is what I'm trying to say. Take responsibility is what I'm trying to say. Dang it. So that's about it. I think I'll pretty much wrap it up, and maybe I'll find that little cut from some movie that was done with the Woody Allen.
Oh, well. La-di-da, la-di-da, la-la, yeah.
That worked. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Please remember that there are other people depending on you, and we need you to step up and be like Willie Nelson and quit your pot. Yeah, Willie Nelson quit pot because his lungs are like deteriorated pieces of lung flesh. There's nothing left in those lungs. He can barely sing. We saw that at that recent award show. He has abused his lungs. He admits it. And he says breathing is very difficult. So all this stuff about, oh, pot's great, pot's wonderful. Hey, if you're inhaling smoke, it's not good. And we know all about vaping, how bad that is now. We know all about how bad Uber is. Oh my gosh, that report that came out today was frightening. All of the, kids, cover your ears. The, what do you call it? The, sexual harassment type stuff is going on in those cars. And Uber self-reported. Okay, kids, you can listen now. So the fact that Uber actually said, this is what's going on with our cars, that's crazy. They I think somebody probably had a story on them, and they were trying to get out ahead of it and say, we're taking responsibility. There you go. Responsibility. We're a responsible corporation. Yeah, so that's basically what happened there. And that's basically what happened on today's Mike's Daily Podcast. Please tell all your friends about it, and you can call me and let me know what you think about what we covered today. 336MM Daily, 3 + 3 = 6MM, as in Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast has been daily, actually, officially daily, for the past 2 days. Whoo! Wow! Let's see if we can make it 3, hopefully 4. Occasionally life gets in the way and I have to take a couple days off. So yes, it's not officially, it's semi-daily, but you can't fit all that on the URL. So MikesDailyPodcast.com. I had to keep it as short as possible. And and I try to make it daily. That's it. Okay, thanks for understanding. We'll see you next time, hopefully.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!